What's up, y'all? It's just Rhonda. Welcome to the channel. What's going on? Sunday fun day. Did everybody have a great day? I, yeah, my day was all right. You know, it is. They can't all be spectacular. Sometimes they just be, a regular old day. So, why are we here? Because we're ready to love. Yeah, it's season 11, it's episode 6. What does that mean? What makes a person ready to love? Y'all like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you're new here, slide on over to the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. You can come over here. We can discuss things on Sundays at 7. We come over here and talk about Ready to Love. What's tonight? Sunday nights, Real Housewives of Potomac. I'll be back tomorrow to talk about that. So we talk about various things over here. And don't forget to hit the like button. For the people that generally spend their time over here, whether you be on the replay or whether you're here live with me, yeah, go ahead and hit the like. So, yeah, ready to love. What makes a person ready to love? We come over here, what's up, Shayna? Shayna, what makes us ready to love? I'm just, I'm curious. I feel like these next few reviews will probably be a lot of projecting. So be expecting me to project. But it's my house and I live here. Yeah. So what makes a person ready to love? We know that financial stability is very important. I feel like a person needs to be very much, able to take care of themselves before they come over, talking about they ready to love. So we started out with 20 people in the room. Pick your partner. Some people be feeling like, oh my God, what if I get over here and I can't find my person? That's probably what's going to happen. So you need to come over here and figure out what you really came over here for. Ready to love. I don't know that anybody's ever ready. Love kind of finds you. You don't find it. Unfortunately for, who was it? Oh, Christina. Unfortunately for Christina, it wasn't her time. These weren't her people. She did not find love over here. I'm not surprised that Christina didn't find love. That she didn't even realize that her connections were no longer connections. Hey, El Cid, rolling around and around all over the place. According to this show, if you say you're healed, you're ready to love. Okay, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that whole like, I'm healed. I'm healed. I'm putting in the work. If you're healed, I'm telling you, I'm projecting. If you're healed and you put in the work, and then you come over here, I'm ready to love, you're probably going to walk away, messing up the good work you already put in. But, that's neither here nor there. These people came over here. Christina came over here looking for somebody to pay for massages and things. Strangers, $300 massages. And so, I mean, read the room, girl. I think this young lady, she didn't have any connections. Not like she thought she did. She thought she had connections, not really so much. The connections were no longer connected. And I think she doesn't have a whole lot of self awareness either. I don't know what la la land this lady is walking around in. I said that she could have been tipsy, maybe, but I feel like that's not, unless she's always tipsy, I feel like this is the headspace that she's in. She's very pretty. You know what I'm saying? And when you sit down at a table with someone and you say something like, it's very difficult to navigate this level of pretty. Girl, what are you talking about? Anyway, we spending a lot of time on this. Christina's out. Um, and Miss Donna lives to see another day. Hey, Jaguar. So yeah, Miss Donna lives to see another day. I feel like Christina like had it in her head that Donna was going home because she was on the bottom, but that's not how things played out. Donna has a connection, and that's what I feel like you should come over here for. You need to come over here. Sorry, I didn't plug this in. You need to come over here and look for a connection, whatever it is. Love is gonna come like you might find it anywhere. You never know. Jaguar, if you looked at the trailer for the season at around, Darius has an argument with Vince. I know. Um, When is that for? What episode is that for? I don't know. I'm really looking forward to finding out what that's about. But I feel like Vince talk a lot of smack. So Vince talks a lot of smack. And it's, put off some of the ladies. You know what I'm saying? The way he thinks he's telling jokes. We already know that he let, calling somebody a bitch fly out of his mouth so very easily, amongst the guys. Um, Darius is extraordinary. That's what we're going to call Darius. That's what he said. He said he's extraordinary. Darius moves around with fur on every jacket, everything that he puts. What does the fur represent? I would like to know. If anybody, want to, if you talk to Darius, ask him what do the furs mean? You know what I mean? Because I'm sure he has a story and an explanation. But anyway, it doesn't surprise me because Darius presents the way that he does, and Vince is kind of slick at the mouth. He probably says something, much like I do over here, except it's my house and I live here. I would be very careful how I say things to people directly to their face. You know what I'm saying? Even in a joking way. So I feel like Vince probably came out of his mouth with somewhat of what he thinks is a joke and probably the truth. Just like with Dom, like she's sitting up here having an issue with him because he could see that your tattoo cover up was not covered up. You know what I'm saying? I think there's reasons to be irritated with Vince, but that ain't one of them. Like I can see you're under the cover up. You might want to go back and cover it up again. So I'm looking forward, to seeing how that whole thing played out. So anyway, Christina's out, Donna's still in, and I don't know who decided to call this episode the Diddy pose, but seriously, of all the things that were said over here, we're going to call this episode the Diddy pose, right next to telling these people to dig deep. See how this don't match? See how it could have been called dig deep. Get vulnerable. I personally am not about to get vulnerable with somebody who I don't really care for necessarily. I don't really know that well. And unless they make me feel that type of comfortable, then it's not going to happen. So, I'm just saying. Now, I could come over here and woo whoever I want. Trust and believe. If I set my mind to it and I'm like, I'm trying to get at least to the episode where, we go on the little vacation situation, because I came over here for a reason. I'm talking about myself, and it ain't to find love. It's to find more people. And if I find something I like, that's cool too. That's like what you call a bonus. Anyway, you come over here and you hang out with these people, and you need to find someone, you know what I'm saying, that you can find some joy in having company with them, even if it's just talking on the phone. Yes, girl, the Diddy the Diddy pose. That's what they named this episode. Why? I don't know. It's very lame. Anyway, y'all got me all over the place, but I like it like that. Hey, Elsid. Elsid's in the house. The chat is funny. Y'all say, hey, everybody, hey. When I go into the chat, usually Elsid's chat, I just like say, hey, and then I'm like, do I have to hey back everybody that says hey? Anyway, hey, y'all. We over here talking about why did they decide to call this the Diddy pose. Yeah, I went off on a tangent. So Darius and Vince are, going to get into it. I'm looking forward to that. And we over here trying to figure out who we connect with. So, group date. Let's just start there. I don't mind the group date, but because at the end of the day, like there isn't enough time to have a date with everyone. And so we're getting rid of these people that aren't making any connections and, see what happened. Like if y'all ain't making no connections, you ain't going to be able to make no scenes, and then we won't have anything to talk about over here. So Nicole decided that she was going to have everyone come over and do a yoga date, a hot yoga date. I'm okay with it. You know what I'm saying? You can't be like, I think some of these things like are cool to actually get to know each other and be in activities. According to Ashley, the young one, Donna and Nicole do this. They was over there acting like this is a real yoga day. This is not a real yoga day. This is a TV yoga day. And so that being said, Donna, I need to speak to you for a minute. I'm gonna talk to you like you're my daughter. Donna, this is not a regular yoga day. This is a TV yoga day. I'm gonna suggest that you get yourself some pattern, edge control, and when you go over to yoga, especially on a TV day, you brush your thing down so this doesn't happen. Donna, what is exactly the point of that blonde chunk on the side of your head? I'm just curious. I've seen a lot of conversation. They thought you was bald. Did you do that yourself? Did you go in the bathroom? Because I'm saying this is the thing that people do. Hey, to go to Africa. Welcome to the channel. I feel very special now. You don't even know. I feel very special now. I do say back to you, hi, back to you all the time, though, because, some people I feel like, need specific hellos. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes, I'll pop in and the conversation is already happening. And then I'm like, hey, everyone. You know what I'm saying? But I appreciate the people that shout me out when I come, over to the chat. I hate that little blonde streak too. I don't understand. Listen, this is what I have chosen as a career. And I do a whole lot of, hair on for a very long time. And I have clients that come in, some little girl, and that's what she looked like. She looked like her mama sent her off to school with a ponytail, and she came back from school looking like she was on the monkey bars and stuff. You are very special. Someone suggested that it could be her birthmark. I know what a birthmark. That ain't what that is. I'm going to need her to confirm that because the birthmark is white. That looks like black hair that has some bleach put on it. If it was a birthmark, it would probably be white. But I would need for her to confirm that because I don't believe it. And I have it, like I said, all the time. People sit in my chair and there's some random chunk of blonde hair. And you're like, who did this? You got to be careful how you're asking. They're usually very proud about how they just went in their bathroom and bleached it. Put it back, Donna. Stop it. You're a beautiful girl. There's no excuse for you to be over here acting like this is a regular hot yoga class when you got Vince and Steven whose attention you're trying to get. I'm just saying. And you got Ashley in the building who doesn't have to do anything but show up. She did that on purpose. I agree, Shayna. So anyway, I feel like I've gone hard enough on you, Donna. If you want some suggestions, girl, you don't need to reach out to me. Ask Ashante. Ask Dom. Like there's hair girls over here. Ask them what they're using. Like I said, I'm using the pattern, edge control. It doesn't, it does what it's supposed to do. Not like on a daily basis, but this is an occasion you needed your shit to stay stuck. Okay, let's get off of Donna. On to this yoga date. Donna and Chris sat over here. I knew this wasn't going to be a conversation. They flashed back to when, he was asking her to tea on who was in the bottom. And, up until we're 6 episodes in and we still don't know what he's doing. We know he probably smells very good. And we know you got to be careful letting him around your stove. If you got a nice stove, you might find Chris over there getting nasty. She's in Detroit. Detroit women don't play about their hair. They don't, and neither does Atlanta. Like there's certain cities you go to. If she was in LA, I'd be like, LA girls be doing it different. No offense. I'm just saying Detroit is not one. If the men are all showing up here with their edges sprayed on, the women don't about play either over there. Let's stop picking on Donna and let's talk about this conversation between her and Chris. She is multiplying, dividing, carrying the three, and moving over the decimal point right now. That's what's happening with Donna and Chris. He, like I said, he has come over here and not focused at all on meeting people. He's calling himself a conversationalist. But I feel like, Chris, no offense, this is a title you gave yourself. Conversations need to go back and forth. You have to show interest in the person that you're talking to. It's a dance, a conversation. And you're just talking. That doesn't make you a conversationalist. That means you like to talk. Sometimes you can't listen if you're just talking. I feel like that's what she means when she said he was kind of taking over the conversation. Chris said when he was young, he said that the young girls were put off by his extreme romance. As a youngster, he was extremely romantic. What does he consider a romantic, I wonder? See, that's what I'm talking about when people are saying ready to love. You can't just throw out things and say you were extremely romantic as a young lad, but the most action you got over here was with Aretha Franklin's stove. I'm just saying. He said he was an ugly duckling. He said he had keloid and he had, I don't know, a gap in his teeth it's time for somebody to let my dog out so he can enter the chat. He has self-esteem issues, and I get that. I feel like everybody's like awkward stage is different, and I think you carry that with you probably a lot in your life. Certain things are going to trigger you as far as your youthful insecurities. He's still morphing and getting there. He's old enough to have morphed. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he got a little flavor. He got a little style. You know what I'm saying? A particular style. So, but I don't think it's over here. But at the end of the day, like, you got to be able to connect with people. You can't just be talking and not listening. He probably can't tell you one thing about Donna necessarily, except for she's got a blonde chunk on the side of her head. Anyway, yeah, I'm like, what are you talking about? How romantic were you as a young child? And you know what I'm saying? He said when he was younger, and don't seem like you know what romance looks like at this age. Now I have to scream at somebody in my. Sorry about that. I had to tell them to bring the dog in. Ugh. Before I come in here, I say, hey, I'm about to go live. And then what do? They like plan a whole, freak off outside my bedroom door. Since we're making Diddy references, nobody was freaking off over here. I'm just saying. There's a lot going on, like after I say I'm going live. This person is definitely not on the show. It's not, but I feel like that's okay. You know what I'm saying? That's why you have to have it in your mind. Like, he's a chef. It's a great opportunity, to show off whatever it is you do to make money. And I feel like most of them are doing that. I feel like you're going to remember that Chris was the guy with the stove over there, at the Aretha Franklin stove. But, you still have to connect with people, though, even if it's not romantic, or go home. So what's the point? I said earlier, I think like your insecurities that carry on into your adulthood. And so when you have to talk about how confident you are, because he was like, listen, and then I turned handsome. I mean, and he should think he's handsome, but if you have to announce it, it kind of like shines a spotlight on your insecurity. He has a communication issue. He's the conversationalist. That's what he calls himself. I mean, he's more fond of than he is good at. That's all I can say about that. Donna said he overpowered the conversations. I feel like Donna engages with people, just not on a romantic level too. Anyway, He didn't like it. He said he'd be over here being stuck, talking to people he don't want to talk to. Vince and Nicole. Y'all, is it just me or is Nicole a problem? Like, in a way, like little nuances of things that she says that make me a little bit uncomfortable. Follow me. She was over here doing hot yoga with this man and stretching, and she kept saying that they were holding hands. And I'm like, yeah, you're holding hands, except not like how you're making it seem like. You know what I'm saying? And now she's like, oh my God, we're so connected. We were holding hands. That's not what happened. It's not even like she's lying to other people. Yeah, she do be lying to other people too. It's she lies to herself. It's odd. It's really odd. It makes me a little uncomfortable, but everybody ain't, on the same wave. I just feel like she ain't on my wave. Um, I think she is maybe having challenge with communication as well. I'm surprised her and Chris like they hit it off, and then I don't know what happened because she's like Devon over here dreaming of taking Ed home when that ain't gonna happen. Anyway, child, it's like, girl, relax. Anyway, they're stretching, and of course the whole what is it assignment is to get deep with one another. So she tells him, like, so Tommy said we are supposed to get deep, expose ourselves a little bit to one another, and he was like, oh well, you go first. He didn't want to just expose himself. I didn't hear him expose himself. I feel like Vince very trickily got out of being vulnerable over here. He is like, you do it first. And then, so she says that through this journey, she has been telling people that she doesn't want kids when she does want kids. Now, who is it that she's been saying this to? Is it just the people here on this show, on this, season? Or is she says that to other people outside of this experiment? Because I feel like I heard her say that through this journey here, over here on Ready to Love, she's been telling people that she doesn't want children when she does. And she says she does that because she's concerned that she might not be a good mother. You agree with me, El Cid? She's been a problem. I think so. I think she's been a problem. But then I hear other people, I hear people be like, it's okay. The fact that you are concerned that you might not be a good mother means you probably are, because you think about it and you care. And I'm like, maybe. But I'm wondering, what is it that's making you think that? I was a young mom, but I didn't think I'm not going to be a good mom. I never thought about that. I just thought, when it's my time, then that's, because I want kids at some point. You know what I'm saying? So everybody gets to plan it different. So I'm not sure why she's thinking that. But my problem is you telling people that you don't want to have kids when you do. Because then what happens if there's something, this guy's like, I don't want any kids either. Like Vince, the one that you're over here holding my hands with. His kids are kind of grown. So does he want more kids? I haven't heard him say that, So if he doesn't want any more kids and you're telling him, did you tell him that you don't want kids? Because if you get into a relationship with someone, like I said, that has older children and they don't want any more, they get with you, and then you're saying, I don't want kids, but then you really do. And now y'all are all the way down to matrimony or what have you, or, at least cohabitating. And now you're saying you want a baby. Is that, girl? She's concerning. And I think Vince has peaked it at this point. Yeah, she'd be down to your job with a box of cookies and things. What are you doing here? He told this story. He shared this story about, taking his kids to school. And it felt very much like a dad moment or a parent moment where you're talking to your kids and, He just let them know this is my first time too, like being a parent. So I'm not going to do everything perfect. And he said his daughter says, so then we're raising each other. And I love that. I thought that was, spot on kind of when it comes to being a parent. You I feel like you all the way up until they're grown, you're going to question decisions that you made and wonder if you could have done anything better. None of us are perfect, but I don't think it's like something you should be worried about, except for when you should. And maybe she should be worried. I think that's a strange thing, like to be telling people, I don't want kids, and then use that as the excuse. Some may right. She just wants Ed's kids. I feel like Ed was like a hell to the no, no. That's what I saw. Um, yeah, she's a problem for me. But anyway, this conversation brought him much higher on her list because they were holding hands. And I don't know, like that he saw that as a bonding moment at all. Like, I don't know that that's what he was getting from that conversation. To go to Africa says she has a severe lack of self-confidence. I'm curious about whether she's experienced a lot of childhood trauma. It has to be something. And then she's a pageant girl. So she's good at like, putting on a face and making it look like, everything's okay. Even though I feel like we can still see that. I feel like we can still see it. I don't know if she sees it. She sees things very differently. Like she sees stretching as holding hands. And I don't know what the heck Ed did to her. Looked at her direction that has her so, flabbergasted. She can't even get her sentences together. So, yeah, is she ready to love? Good question. Y'all brought her over here. Donna and Steven. In defense of her, she and Vince have seemed to have developed a good relationship. They seem to enjoy themselves a lot at the skating rink. Yes, I feel like they have been a connection. You know what I'm saying? But was she telling him she doesn't want to have kids then? Because we're digging deep. So, hey, E Troop 2, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the chat. Yeah, did she tell him that? I feel like you can have a connection with somebody, you know what I'm saying? In the beginning, skating is fun. They were having a good time. She's beautiful. So it's easy to be distracted. I think the guys, it's us, all of them, we're like, oh, she's pretty. We would have liked Christina too if she wouldn't have told us she was pretty. We could see, you know what I'm saying? But the ticky ticky boom starts showing up the more you spend time around somebody. It sounded like she was asking for his opinion. I don't know, child. I think he was like, what? What are you talking about? It was like a moment for him where, I don't know. He slid up her ladder, and I feel like she slid down his a little bit. Donna and Steven. This is not a couple. Just because they had a conversation, everybody's like, ooh, Donna and Steven. No, that's not what this is. Their version of dig deep, she said, let's get to this assignment. We've been over here. We ain't got a whole lot of time to waste. We're doing hot yoga. I'm tired. I'm sweaty. I need to go home, and I got things to do. And he's like, cool. So the last time, like, I talked to you, you had this 7-year gap between, you've been single for 7 years. That feels like a long time. It is a long time, but I feel like her explanation makes sense. She had 2 bad relationships. And so she just put that thing on pause and was like, hold on for a second. Let me like figure out like who I am, and then I'll revisit the situation. I'm not mad at Donna and Vince. For whatever reason, I feel like their connection, she likes his jokes. She thinks he's funny. She wants kids, but she's not running around acting like she doesn't. That being said, I'm not sure that that's like a priority for her either. She says she put all that nonsense out of her way, went and got her PhD. That's, amazing for her. And probably, she's a mathematician, she's smart. So the person that she gets with is going to have to be able to, match her intelligence. That's one of the things they said about her, being in the bottom. They think she's very smart. She's a beautiful lady. She's cool to be around. Their whole issue was the whole religion thing, which I think is bullshit. But, that doesn't mean she hasn't made a connection. So her and Steve had a great connection. Steve has to have some other connections too, besides just Ashante. They like each other for right now, as far as we know, but he still can't only have her, on the list. It doesn't work much for, the way they do things over here. Instead of just focusing on people that have a real connection, they want you to keep pushing it. And I feel like Chris has a point on that note, but he wasn't having connections with anyone. Only Donna looked like she went to hot yoga. Yeah, she's the only one. She's still sitting up here in this man's face, like her cheeks are pink. She really worked the hell out. Woo. Anyway, I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think, that's a lot. Like, and when you're studying for a PhD or any kind of degree, but that's pretty major, first of all. And you have to like shut everything out. When people be like, I'm going to work on my master's, they go away for like 3 months and be like, I'll see you in June when I'm done with all of this. So I get that. And, now life is lifing and she's looking for her person. I feel like that's how it's very hard. First of all, it's very hard to find love and find a connection. And then you've got the princess fairy tale fantasy of walking down the aisle and making magic, Anyway, that's y'all's story. That's not my story. She asked him, which I think this was actually a good conversation. One thing I'm gonna give Detroit is they have been having good conversations on these dates. Like the people who don't know how to have a conversation are being X'd out, like get them out of here so we can see, like, go deeper with these people. Steven is quiet. He don't really be here a whole lot, but when he comes over here, he says something that makes you want to like know a little more. It's not all fluff and bullshit. I feel like he been being real from the very beginning. When he met Christina, he was pretty much like, I'm not about to be doing all that. So this lady can go in the VIPs and things if she wants to, but I'm looking to settle, have a family and that kind of thing. She asked him if his relationship with his mom and dad impacted his romantic decisions. I think that was a good question. And we'll find out later with Lauren and Devon how their relationship with their parents and watching them be in a relationship affected them, in their adult life. So he said his mom has passed on, and so he looks a lot to the women in his family. He seeks out the advice from them more than the men. Duh. That just makes him smart. You look around at the men and be like, well, this ain't how I want to do it. So, let me see how, let me ask a woman's opinion. Yeah, so Donna's still into Vince. She is, but, it's saying two different things. I'm looking at my phone and I'm looking at the chat. And so, yeah, let me get back into what Donna and Steven are over here talking about. Like I said, when Steven comes over here, he says something that, makes him, it only makes you look at him in a more positive way. It does me. I still don't think this is a romantic connection, but, because he was like, yeah, okay, so I know a little more about Donna. That's very smart. She says she felt misunderstood. I feel like, too, being a smart person, you maybe talk on a level where people are like, what? So you have to learn how to communicate. Not that they're stupid, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like I can be around people with a very high vocabulary, but I'm going to like just say it regular. We both get to the same point. It was a good talk, though. So Chris Chow and Ashley have a chat over by the car. I was like, did he chase her over to the car? Look, let me have one last conversation. Like, nothing he's doing for me is intentional. He's still just over here trying to figure out, like, so hey, how are y'all voting? What are they doing over there? What did you chase her over to the car for? He said, yeah, like I did not have a great time over at the mixer because I spent the whole time wondering, like, what if I don't find my person? We heard you say that already. You said it to Nicole. Now you don't have to keep saying that same thing to all the girls. Are you looking for your person? What is your person like? What is it that the person that you're looking for, you know what I'm saying? What does that look like in your head? Because I feel like Steven knows, and I feel like Donna's getting an idea, and I feel like Ashley still doesn't know. And everybody, run over there and get Ashley away from Darius immediately. Anyway, he said he doesn't feel like I guess this whole dating process, and it is not normal to be dating people all in the same group trying to find like a connection with someone he said that he's not interested in. Yeah, so you're having conversations with people, and it's because you're not having conversations. I feel like maybe, Chris, you went through this whole process not interested in anything that anybody had going on. You were mostly just talking. And I mean, the only one, I'm not sure what happened with him and Nicole. I thought they had a connection, but maybe finally she got tired of him just talking. She needs somebody that's going to go a little deeper, like most people do if you're going to be getting closer to each other. I wish they would stop using the word connection. We need to figure out a substitute. There's only going to be one real connection, and everybody else is just 6, 7. Oh, Jesus. Um, is he even talking to Ashley, like behind the scenes? Like, are they having text conversations? Because it feels like these people are very good at communicating. Some of these guys is over here talking on the phone all night, waking up in the morning, in the shower. Chow, you can't get out the shower. We'll get there, Chow. Um, he's kind of a downer. Like, he's talking about his insecurities, and Ashley is not trying to hear any of that. Child, okay, we all in here in the same circumstances. So yeah, Chris is not getting to know each other. Ashley don't want to hear it either. He told her this story about he fell in love with some girl within 5 months, but then she ghosted him. What does that even look like? I would love to hear more about this girl that made him fall in love. I feel like that's a flat out lie. I don't believe that story. I'm sorry, Chris. I don't believe that story. We're going to need to hear more about it. Somebody that sits down and has a talk with Chris, can we find out more about this girl that, he fell madly in love with in a matter of minutes? And then, was she standing near a stove? For goodness sakes. That's all that was happening over here at Hot Yoga. Ashley ain't thinking about this man. Child. He know better. He knows better. He knows that's not what's about to happen over here. We had a few more dates. So Bello and Lauren take a boat ride on the river, and they actually look good together. They make sense in terms of business, you know. Um, Everything seems right. You know what I'm trying? It's a pretty picture. It probably looks right on paper. He didn't say girl or use it for feminine pronoun. Okay, well, y'all keep trying me with that one, but I'm not falling for it. Whatever, he fell in love. I'll leave the pronouns out. He fell in love and he got ghosted. And I would still love to hear more about that, you know. On to Bello and Lauren. Yeah, they look like a handsome couple together. Um, she said he giving a little bit like too good to be true vibe. She's like, what is it with you? Like, obviously you're good looking. All the ladies is loving you. Bello's saying all the right things. Minus we're gonna work on when we see Bello in real life by the end of this season, we gonna hope that he has let go of the spray painted hairline. Just let it go. They already said you fine. Get your Michael Jordan on. Shave it. Let it go. He'll probably look younger because it's aging you. You're only 38 years old. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, he is not too good to be true, but he does have a 1-year-old daughter that he somehow let slip at a one night stand. So he was down in Miami. He was down in Miami. I'm curious, Bello. It's, I'm just out of curiosity. You're in Miami. I wonder if it was the Latino lovely lady down there in Miami. Or was it like giving Trina? I don't know. I'm feeling like the way Bello moves, it was probably a lovely Latina. That means nothing. He was over there. Ooh, baby, I like you, bro. How you do that, Bello? You let one slip. Anyway, the baby's here. He did the right thing. He went and had a paternity test. I just want to know, like, these guys, he was definitely getting jiggy with it. La 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 la. This bothers me. And I mean, I get it, things happen, he's a baby, he has a baby. He lives in Canada. I'm pretty sure he said he lives in Canada. And so what does that look like? Like, it's the baby is a year old. So it's not someone that he had any type of relationship with. So they throw this word out there. He said he's strictly co-parenting. I'm getting irritated with that term, to be honest, because what does that mean? How do you co-parent from Miami to Canada? You know what I'm saying? So basically, this girl had a baby by a one night stand. And what is the arrangement? You want to be involved in your daughter's life. How? What does that look like? I'm just saying. So co-parenting, and y'all stop saying that like so casually. He's from Canada. He probably lives in several places. Well, we know he run through Miami. I just want to know how often, since he got a baby mama down there. And so, Lauren is very graceful in that, if it is what it is, I'm not going to sit here and snub you because you have a child. We just, like, the baby is 1 year old. So we're going to have to see, like, what that even looks like, you as a parent having to raise a child with someone that you were never even in a relationship with. So clearly you don't know enough about this person to come to any type of conclusions of what co-parenting is going to look like with a 1 year old. So Bello, as much as you seem very too good to be true, we're going to have to proceed with caution, because you have some things that we need to Donna, I know I was very hard on you before, but we're going to need another spreadsheet on this one, because for me, it's giving, no. Nope. Co-parenting is not easy breezy. And so, yeah, Bello, we want to see what that looks like. I think he's a good guy. Based on how he handled Ashley, I feel like, to me, he handled her very caring, very lovingly. We'll talk about that, but we'll just have to see. He said it was a one night stand. Right. You have a child with somebody that you would call a one night stand. That means you know nothing about this person besides how she hit it. Cardi and Dom have a trivia date. What do y'all think about Dom and Cardi? I don't know. Cardi cannot be that entertaining, but he got a lot of ladies on his list. And I feel like he's a number. He's somebody that is enjoyable, I guess, to hang around, but, not any type of romantic connection. They're supposed to dig deeper over there. So she says, so you have a daughter, a child. He has a 3-year-old daughter. He said, we co-parenting like we always have, me and her mother. And I'm like, what is that? That's not digging deeper. That's saying very little, Cardi. I want to know what that means. She's 3 years old. What is the relationship like with the baby mother. Yes, hit the like button. Thank you, El Cid. What is the relationship like with the baby mother? You know what I'm saying? He kind of breezed past that. He hit us with a co-parenting. Y'all gonna stop with that one. We need more. That's not enough. Co-parenting. What does that mean? Does that mean like, hell, Martell and Melanie Holt is Melanie Cherie and Martell Holt is co-parenting. It seems like a nightmare. So, here we go with that. And he really skipped over that and asked her, would you get married again? We're not done talking about co-parenting, but yeah, I would get married again. When I first got divorced, I didn't think I would want to do it. I feel like this conversation was very much surface. This was not digging deep, Dom and Cardi. Y'all tried it, but I don't think so. I think Dom is a lover girl, so she can probably be entertained. Like Cardi obviously is cool to hang around, so I don't think she loves him, but I think she can be friendly and sweet to anyone and flirty. Yeah, they look like good friends. You've seen them hanging out with Christina, Dominique, and Chris. Well, I mean, I feel like that's a good thing. Like if you come out of this situation and you don't have a love connection, they living in the city. So that's a good thing. If they outside hanging out with each other and not like hating on each other, I'm here for that. Yeah, I don't feel like there's a romantic connection here, but Cardi ain't said nothing, did nothing. We ain't seen nothing in there. All like we like Cardi. Woo! All of them have said it. He has got not one bad review from anyone. I don't feel like Dom is over here giving Cardi the same energy she giving Bello though. Bello though. I question whether Cardi can really handle somebody like Dom, like in real life. She's a grown woman. You know what I'm saying? It's giving very much grown, Dom. So Lauren, Darius, Devon, sorry. Lauren, Darius, Devon, and Shannon, they meet up at a speakeasy. I feel like it's kind of hard. Like the other group date, people were able to take a little side, you know what I mean, and talk privately. This is like a dinner date. So everybody's sitting at the dinner table, and I think it's kind of hard to become vulnerable with someone. Like it was really random. Like, Lauren, what are you doing here with these people? This is not your people. Shannon and Devon like each other, so maybe Shannon's your girl, and you figured to set up a situation where these two can like have a moment together, because I know you are not over there with Darius. That is not what you're doing, child. She even said it felt like the deacon. She was over there, can't sleep with the deacon or the pastor or whatever. Boy, Detroit pastors. Do y'all remember that show? I wish it would come back. Do y'all remember that show with them black pastors in the mega churches? Now that was some good reality TV. And homeboy Lemmy, I think that's his name, that has Zeus Network. He was the one producing that show. Oh, they should bring that one back. I don't even go to church. They should bring that one back. Anyway, they're supposed to dig deep over here. I don't feel like anybody was digging deep over here. But like I said, I'm not gonna hold it against them, because you're sitting at a table like with people, not like in an intimate setting. So let me give you what I'm gonna give you, but there's no connections over here, so I'm not gonna give you too much. Darius came in with her favorite wine. See, that's what he do. Where did you get that wine from, Darius? Just asking. Anyway, Lauren said, Tommy wants us to dig deeper. So let's go ahead and let's dig deeper and become vulnerable with each other. So Shannon said while she was studying for her, master's or her PhD or whatever she was over there studying for, she fainted and she hit her head on the wall, and she still suffers from some type of concussion. Just, she's affected by whatever kind of concussion she got. And I was like, Shannon, that's something that happened to you, and that's terrible. They were all like, ooh. But is that digging deep? I don't think so. Devon does. He thinks she's being vulnerable. I guess. Like I said, I'm not gonna hold it against her. That's terrible. Now Darius shares that when his mom dropped him off at school, all the little girls would line up, kiss his hand, and say, King Darius. Child, who are their mothers? Whose mothers, whose children is out here kissing this man's hand? Thank you, E-Troop. Hopefully we'll see you over here on a regular, because it's kind of fun. Yeah. So you got dropped off at school, Darius, and all the girls lined up to kiss your hand and call you King Darius. Now, if this is me, I'm trying to figure out how much longer I'm trying to figure out how much longer do I have to sit here and do this. And now I'm thinking about it. Laura was like, got somewhere to be. So toodles, everyone. I planned another date on the same time as this one. Meanwhile, house slippers are in the front seat of the car so she can take those shoes off. Are you kidding me? That's his digging deep. There is no deep. I haven't seen it. I've only heard him say lines and things. So, Darius, I really am curious to find out what went down between him and Vince. Hopefully that's next week. Y'all quit playing. Lauren shared that, her parents had a bad relationship and it influenced her in her adult years. I'm sure it does. I think a lot of times it either causes fear that you don't want that, or you end up doing the same damn thing and you don't realize it until you're in it. And you're like, damn it, this is the same thing I said I wasn't going to do. Devon shares that his parents didn't get along. He said his father didn't get along with his mother. So I'm trying to unpack that. What does that mean? That was just an interesting way to put it. Like, it's make it seem like, yeah, my mother was fine, but my father wasn't trying to get along. I don't know. But either way, like, it sucks. So he didn't grow up with a positive influence in terms of, what a family dynamic. It can be normal and it can be toxic. And what it sounds like is these two dealt with a toxic situation growing up. Devin said he wants to make sure that, he goes into a relationship whole. He's healed, he said. And I said, well, I want to know more about that. They say they're healed, like Shayna said. Well, what was the process in that? Because it was like a lot of holes. Like, I'm sure we missed, maybe, with editing. I don't think so. It just seems like he said that, his parents' relationship was not a good one, and how he is healed so that he's whole when he goes into a relationship. And yeah, whole like how? What was he doing to heal? That show about the preachers was good, wasn't it? Anyway. Nicole and Ed have a date, child. Oh my God. I am just so confused by how giddy this girl is over this man that has done absolutely nothing. Now, I think Ed is fine, but come on. I mean, good grief. She just can't get a hold of herself. It makes me uncomfortable. Anyway, they sit down. That food looked good. I don't know what Ed was eating over there, but I wanted to see him wrap one of them tortillas around whatever that was he had. Anyway, where was y'all at? We're getting deep. We're getting down to the good questions. So she asked a good question. She asked him, how have past pain and hurt, and past relationship affect how he moves today? Like, he was married, obviously. They have children together. People will tell you that we just grew apart, but I feel like when you marry that young, that's what happens. Like, it doesn't have to be anything horrible. Co-parenting, according to him, co-parenting is fine. Now, he said he just moved back to Detroit. So it's, what was co-parenting looking like before? What does it look like now? Y'all just throwing that word out there. From now on, when a man say co-parenting, I'm gonna need more. That's not gonna be a good enough answer. How is your co-parenting? What does that look like? How do y'all get along? Do you still be sliding over there? Like, what is the real story behind you and the co-parenting situation? Because Ed seems very hung up in something that's not allowing him. I'm not gonna penalize him for not like dealing with Nicole, because she's scary. I hate to say that, Nicole, but you love this man way too much. What'd you say? I'll be over here. I may show up as Ebony the Explorer. Thank you. Um, what'd you say, to go to Africa? I know that isn't good for boxers to show pain or emotions, but he needs to work on display. I mean, he's not boxing. And if you can't, like, you have children, you know what I'm saying? So are you able to like soften up for your kids? You know what I'm saying? And I'm not judging his parenting by any means, but emotionally, you need to be able to let go. He's very rigid on this whole, we need to like be under one God under my house, and I understand that, but like, is it just his way or the highway? Like, I don't know. We're not getting anything besides, he does this flirty thing. When he had that date with Ashley, he was just allowing her to ask questions, but he wasn't inquiring anything about her. She peeped it. She said he ain't not about to speak no words of affirmation into his woman. So why is this girl over here about to fall out her seat? I love Ed. Why? He's not even, and I feel like maybe, you know what I'm saying? The right person gets you in the right place. Is he still spilling his energy over at his ex-wife because that's a comfortable space? Is that part of your co-parenting? We don't know, because y'all just want to leave it at co-parenting. And if he was like with his high school sweetheart, what was all this crushing coming from? You know what I'm saying? Because, like, did they break up and get married after? He may have never shown how to show emotion. Yeah, you're right. Because I think athletes are definitely programmed, all of them. And boxing is a whole nother level. So, it's going to take a special, cookie to crack that one. And I'm not mad at it, but he's going to miss out on maybe something good if he's so guarded. I don't think he sees it. He thinks he's being transparent, but you're not, because I feel like that was a simple question. How do you show up now? Have you acknowledged the pain? And his response is, I have a high tolerance for pain. I'm not talking about if I punch you in your face. I'm talking about your emotions, your feelings. I don't know. I don't know how much boxing he was doing. I never heard of him as a boxer, but I don't follow boxing. I know he doesn't answer the question, and she says she's not going to be able to be with somebody who can't open up to her emotionally. But then you continue to like be so attached to this man that has zero attachment to you. Bello and Ashley. I appreciated this date, and this showed a side of Bello like that. I see why they are attracted to him. The way he carries himself, Ashley is beautiful as always. She has this connection, she said, with Darius. He's her top. And I want to know why. Is it because of all that fluff? Like, did she just, like I said before, when you come in saying, you got to have money to be with me, you setting yourself up to find someone like Darius when, I don't think she's prepared to have a man like Bello just yet, but hopefully she would, you got to be treated, I feel like, a certain type of way before you can appreciate it. I think a lot of times women are in horrible relationships And so the bare minimum is, you know, buying you champagne, and you know, the bare minimum is like fantastic because, you know, based on what she talked about, you know, she's been through some things. um she's the middle child of 6 children, her and a sister, and the rest are boys. So she says she's got an older brother and the rest are younger. That just means like that these 2 girls were taking care of all these boys probably. um Bello asked her what made her feel like she's ready to like find love and get married and be in that space. And she said because she did the work. Based on how emotional she still is, I feel like she got some more work to do. And that's not a wrong thing. She is still, you know, working through some things, but I don't know that this is it. In terms of finding love, love can be so distracting and so draining, and you know, like I said, if you're not healed, it's definitely going to interfere with probably your healing process. She says she's been through therapy for 3 years and she's still in therapy. She might be ready to start looking and trying to figure out what it is she wants, um, and needs. And I think that's probably the phase she's in. She just needs to like date some people and see what it feels like, you know, to be in different types of, you know, friendships, because, you know, I don't think she knows. Um, he asked her what she learned about herself because she was saying being in therapy, she learned so much about herself. And he said, "What did you learn about yourself?" And she said, she learned that she's a strong person, but sometimes she feels weak and defeated. And then she starts crying. And so I guess the only way I could like relate to it is when my mother passed away. I would cry like about any little thing. It's like this whole portal opened up and I couldn't even talk about it without or anything that referenced it. Like I could talk about it now, but it was like a point where I couldn't even like have it cross my mind without, you know, a rush of emotion. So that just means like whatever she's going through feels like it's still fresh enough for her to still be affected by it. Um, but when she started to tear up, he immediately like took her hand, calmed her down. He made a safe space for her to get through her emotions without her feeling some type of way. You know, she seems like, you know, she seems like she felt very comfortable. He made her feel very protected in that particular moment. So that made me like him. You know what I'm saying? He ain't even acting like he's now acknowledging obviously that she's a beautiful girl, but he's also not like being gross, talking about stuck in her toes and things. And he was a comfortable space for her to you know, release that emotion. That in itself is healthy. She talks about seeing someone she loves go through some severe mental illness. She talked about schizophrenia and bipolar, and I don't know if that was somebody that she was in a relationship with. I'm guessing that's what it was. Um, Maybe not, but I feel like just because he asked her like what makes her ready, you know, what makes her feel like she's ready to love. Um, anyway, that's a lot. That's very heavy. And yeah, thankfully she's dealing with it. You know what I'm saying? And working through it with therapy because most people don't. Most people just suppress it and try to, you know, live life without ever addressing it really. This is what vulnerability looks like, though. Not saying that you got dropped off at school and all the girls came and kissed your hand and called you King Darius. The last place this girl needs to be is with that guy. Um, yeah. Anyway, Bello provided a safe space. That's very dope of him. So that, you know, I can see why the ladies feel the way they do about Bello, because you know the ladies' lounge happened. Tommy is having a conversation with the ladies. Dom, she has a connection with Cardi, according to her. I guess, child. Donna feels this newfound connection with Steven. Probably, but not really. Um, Vince says she brought up, Nicole said Vince brought her out of her egg cloud because he was holding her hands. Girl. Okay, child. Now, Lauren was talking about having a conversation with Bello, and she said he shared that he has a 1-year-old daughter. And was this like some editing trickery? I got to go back. Dime immediately, like they flashed to her, and she was like, "Oh, really?" And I'm like, "Are we to assume that it has to be editing?" I would like to know. Next time she go live, I think if I could catch her, I'm dying to know was that editing, because they have sat and had conversations from the very beginning about surrogacy and how he needs a boy, and they share some very personal things about each other as it relates to children. I am not going to believe that he did not ever mention that he had a 1-year-old daughter. If he did not say that to her, that's going to make me think of him in a whole completely different way. So right now it'd be like they had to edit it that way just to play with us, because that's not it don't even make sense. So Shannon be in the shower talking to Devon with her earbuds in. Girl, I guess. I really think there's a connection there. I'm just gonna always like see Devon as a trick that sent this girl $180 for a massage that she never got. So, there's that. Yes, child. Her and Devon be talking in the shower. No wonder why you fell down, slipped down. Be careful, Shannon. You doing silly things like that. Tommy, like you're gonna get electrocuted. Ashley, once again shared, what had got her emotional when she was on her date with Bello. And yeah, she had all the ladies in there all teared up. Chris, the ladies thinks Chris overpowers conversations. That's definitely Donna. And he's insecure about the journey. And I don't think he's actually been on the journey. I don't know what Chris been doing. Walking around, survey says. They said Ed is emotionally unavailable. I think it's interesting that he thinks he's being available. I don't know. I feel like Ed, definitely there were ladies that he was attracted to here, but he's not going deep. He's not opening up. And, that ain't going to get you nowhere, buddy. Not over here. Nicole says she's had a 15-year-old crush on Ed, and she still doesn't know if he likes her. How do you not know that? Like, I feel like at this point, like at this big old age, we start to be able to understand when somebody likes us and when they, are not interested. And I don't mean based on what's going on in her head. We know the difference between we were holding hands and we were stretching because the man told us to do it, do that. Anyway, Tommy says Nicole has painted a picture that doesn't exist. She does. She's living in some type of fantasy world that has not happened. But I'm going to say this. I feel like a lot of us do that. I feel like not even just like in this situation where she's been crushing on this guy for, her whole entire life, but in situations where you're in a relationship. Who was it? Donna said she had back-to-back bad relationships. And then Lauren has talked about her relationship. And I feel like we're in it as women, men too, maybe. I don't know how they think. I'm speaking from a woman's perspective. You fall in love with this fantasy that keeps you there. You know what I'm saying? And so at least on that note, you were in an actual relationship. This lady has not actually been in a relationship or even on a date with this man. So that makes her crush a little, her fantasy, her picture that she's painted. It might as well be Michael Jackson, child. So the bottom two, it's gonna be Chris and Ed because they're over here not making actual connections. Ashanti takes Chris out, and Nicole child takes out Ed. Poor thing. That was too much for her. I don't know that she was able to handle the cut out to do that. I don't know why y'all did that to her. Um, so Ashanti is sitting at this table. Ashante is sitting at this table with Chris, and he has a top five. She's like, there's only 6 people. So how do you have a top five? And he's looking her in her face and said, my tops are you and Dom and Nicole and Shannon. It's like a toss-up between the two of them. And she's looking at him like, I'm your top. When? How? They had a conversation that she felt was combative. So yeah, you're at my top. I feel like he just be saying whatever he needs to say at the time. It's too late. um Shantae told him, like, listen, it's giving friend vibes. You're not really over here trying to have any types of real connections with anyone. So yeah, the lady said you're not ready to love. And then Nicole comes in here with this date with Ed. He sits down at the table and she's already crying. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she's acting like she's breaking up with her boyfriend. And then he's consoling her. Like, he didn't cry. I think he was like, dang, I didn't think I would be, gone. I thought I could come around here and be cute and smile at these ladies and they would just keep me around without actually making any real connections. That did not work. They said he got to go. And this girl is about to, oh my God, she can't even stay in her seat. He got to walk outside. And oh my God, Ed is leaving. You don't even know if he likes you still. Why are you this emotional? I'm confused. She boohoo crying. I still don't even know if he's interested. That's how it ended this week. They sent home 2 people. Good. Let's get, sorry, Ed. We'll catch you over at the Access Lounge, like reviewing the show, recapping the show with Lauren. But for right now, you're not connected with anyone over here. So you could go ahead and give your opinion and I'll still be listening. Chris, stay away from people's stoves if you don't know them people like that. Next week is Meet the Exes. And so this is going to be interesting. Isn't it interesting how when it's time for the guys to have their exes come through, they manage to find somebody? Why are women so willing to do stuff that men aren't willing to do? When it's the girls' turn, the exes be like, I ain't going out. I don't talk to any of my exes, so I don't know why that would be a thing. But anyway, we're going to be sitting up here, girl, talking to, if that's, what's his name? Cardi's ex. He gonna go from that to Don? I mean, no disrespect, y'all. Like the video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye, y'all.